Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back once again for the first time in quite some time to SimplePlanes. Now, I've actually been very excited to get back to this because SimplePlanes has had some major updates recently, including new wheels and car parts. In our propulsion section we now have, as well as some even bigger engines than before, which are terrifyingly quick. We have also added the car engine, which lets us connect directly to wheels, which are now turnable. Our resizable wheels, we can now put turn angles on, we can reverse angles, so we can make four-wheel drive vehicles, we can make things even bigger than that. We can do all sorts of very fun things. We've now got shock absorbers and pistons. I haven't even tried the pistons yet. The shock absorbers are fun, let me tell you. So, we get to have a bit of a muck about with these. We can also spawn random AI planes in sandbox mode now, which is lots and lots and lots of fun. I'm just going to build something basic to show you roughly how all the various new bits work, and figure out how all the various new bits work as well, because pistons, I haven't tried them yet and I'm excited. Let's add for now some fuel tanks, because extra fuel tanks are handy. Make sure we don't run out of the damn things. The car engines also use very little fuel by comparison to the big jets, as one might expect, and are surprisingly powerful for their size. So I'll put the engine up there, because why not? It's just somewhere to put the engine, to be honest with you. I can go into my engine here, in fact, and I can set my engine power. I can also set what activation input it is, which is great. I can also set whether or not to turn it on at all. So, I'll leave it as is for now. 200 horsepower is usually a good place to start, much as that might not seem enormous by comparison to the sort of stuff that the jets put out. It certainly does the job. And if I structural and put some long angled blocks down to make it more aerodynamic. Yeah, that'll work-ish. Let's make it shocks we'll put on in a second. So if I put a rotator here, but then not that way, I want to rotate it that way. Okay, so I'll put that there, and then I'm going to try doing a couple of little things here. If I put a block, just a standard block there, and some gizmos, put a shock absorber under that block. Controls, please. Put a shock absorber under the block. Put another block on the shock absorber. And then chuck myself a wheel onto here. Now my options with the wheels are great fun. I can massively boost them up in size, or I can make tiny wheels, which is great. The standard 1.5 wheel, let's go for a double size wheel here. 2 blocks wide, that'll do me. Nice and wide, 120% do the trick. Yeah, that'll do me. And tyre style, you can do street style, normal style, or off-road. I'm going to go for off-road with this beastie. And put another rotator back here. Actually, I might make them a bit further apart, make this a slightly bigger vehicle. May need something to weigh it down at the back, otherwise this thing's going to fall forwards, but well, let's see. I'm going to try and make something that's got adjustable, right, rotator controls, VTOL controls, and If I invert the back ones, that means I should be able to use them to climb difficult hills. Should be able to lower it and raise it by messing around with my VTOL controls, which could be handy. Now if I make the turning angle on these, if I do 15 degrees, while it may not seem like much, is actually quite a lot. If I then do 15 degrees on the back ones and invert them, yep, and we're on your controls for that, which is Q and E on my keyboard, I believe. We should put ourselves in a situation where this thing can climb nicely. So let's mirror this for now. Now this may not even work at all, and it looks bloody stupid. However, okay, turn controls, you can see that the shocks make it bounce. Turn controls seem to be doing what I want them to do. VTOL, yep, I can lower it down, or I can raise it back up again. Good, I can lower it right down to the ground, or I can raise it up to go over obstacles. That's what I want. So let's lower it down while we're on the road and see what our 200 horsepower engine screams and does nothing, because what I need to do is go here and select an engine for my tyres to be connected to, because I forgot to do that. So you can have multiple engines powering different wheels, so you can turn different engines on and off, which is really handy, and you can have certain wheels moving at certain times, so you don't want particular wheels running or whatever. It's really useful. So let's try that again. Lower us down. 100% power. Let's see how fast we go. It's quite quick acceleration. Oh, wait. Ah. Oh, shit. The wheels came off. Right. Restart a second. So, issue is obviously our turning works just fine, but when we VTOL down too far, that turning doesn't do the same thing. Yeah, if we only VTOL part way, we still get most of our control. But obviously left and right become up and down when you put them on their side. So, at that point, whoa, we've still got some control there. Not as much as I'd like, though. Okay, so long as we don't go all the way down, we've still got turning control. Also got to remember not to brake too hard, otherwise we'll rip the car apart. As I said, 200 horsepower is a lot more than it might seem. Shit! Okay, brakes on. Let's raise back up again. Full use out of the suspension here. We also have a tighter turning circle when we've got the VTOL centered. And we should get more use out of the suspension as well. Although admittedly, if we hit something too hard, it'll all go tits up. Right, well, that at least is proof of concept that this thing works up to a point. Centre of gravity could do with being a bit lower, but not too bad. There are worse things. That will probably add a little bit of extra weight in the central section. Why am I not looking at my centre of mass? I can use the controls on this to show my centre of mass, which is the red one, which is here. My centre of lift is off somewhere to the side because I don't have any lifting wings, so it's kind of unnecessary to show that. Okay, centre of mass is in fact pretty near the middle. Maybe want to extend it a little at the back just to make sure it's more balanced. Okay, that's reasonable. Could make it slightly more aerodynamic by doing that. Let's not try and make those aerodynamic though, because the second we rotate them, obviously that'll change everything. Oh, those rotate anyway. Oh, let's not put those on because that's where the rotators are. Whoops. Let's not put those on either because they will get in the way of the rotators and will probably explode when the rotators crush them. That could be a slight issue. Well, that's less likely to explode now, which is a plus point. 200 horsepower is fine. It can handle that. Now, I'm going to add a couple other parts and find out what we can do. What does the piston do, and how do I control it? And is it any use? I mean, it probably has more specific uses that I've not looked at. Speed, range, direction. Oh, so my input, I can change the input on that. So I'm not actually using the pitch input at the minute. And I can change the range of the piston. Okay. And well, let's find out what it does first. Maybe let's just put 2 pistons on and copy some blocks onto them. There we go. Just got a little weight on the piston there. Direction cannot be changed while a part is connected to the moving end of the piston. What does that mean? Oh. Oh, okay. So it just pushes and pulls between those, and obviously I can't change it because when it says pull, that means it starts out there and cycles down. That's fine. So let's try this and just literally find out what the piston does exactly what it says on the tin and pushes and pulls. And because I've got it set to pitch controls, it doesn't stay where it is unless I hold it. That's handy to know, so I can just do. I can just push and pull up and down like that. That's fun. I could use that for things. I could use that to make this thing climb over stuff. Although that's probably a dumb idea. That's not going to stop me from doing it. I won't do it with this one, because I've already built the wrong things badly anyway. Oh well, right, let's go. Try it with its new weight capacity, and also try and do it on something other than just flat, solid ground. Let's lower to the ground a bit. Okay, let's slow it down a bit, slow it down a bit. We're going a wee bit too fast. It's just taking the throttle off. I've not even put the brakes on. If I try and put the brakes on, the shocks run away with me. Okay. We're doing a mere 68 miles per hour now. At 10% power, I'm doing over 70 miles an hour, which is pretty silly. Okay, we've got quite a nice amount of control, actually, and still good speed. So, as is, how good are we at getting over hills? I've put a bit of extra power on to go over the hill, I imagine. And I'll raise up a bit. Oh! Okay. We crashed. Maybe the nose was sticking out a little bit too far forwards. Also, slightly small new feature, we can restart from the point we're at, which is handy, rather than restarting from the landing strip every time. Which makes life a little bit easier for testing on odd terrain. Oh. If I use the camera... Oh, yeah, that nose was probably the cause of that crash then. The shocks make it quite easy to traverse rough ground, if you balance them correctly, or at all. Whoops. Crashed it again. Well, flipped it now. It's not actually exploded. It's just belly up. So, that sort of worked. However, we might need to put those pistons on it. That's what a good excuse to use pistons. Okie dokie. Gizmo, piston. Range 75. And if I leave that on activation VTOL, I can push up and down. No, I'll leave that. I'll move that to pitch because that works. Speed 50% is fine. Don't want to ruin anything. Okay. So with that done, whoops, didn't mean to attach that over there. 3D construction can be difficult like that. And, oh shit. Didn't mean to do that, I just meant to copy the piston over to here. And plonk it back over there. And then I can simply mirror things. Okay. So now, oh dear, I can do that. I can bounce. Proper hydraulics. Well, that's nice. Full-on pimp wagon here. Or, you know, I can use it for the purpose I actually intended it for and do that with it. Although, I seem to be messing up the wheels and those shocks aren't really good enough for the job at this point. Goodbye. Right, you can actually change the settings on the shocks, which is very handy. So let's give that a try. Probably put the spring strength and damper up to maximum. We don't really want it to bounce around a lot, and this design anyway, because we're trying to use this to climb over hills and stuff, which is a practical function. Sort of. Okay. That should hopefully hold things in place a little better. A little better. Whoa! Okay, putting the brakes on caused it to explode. That's still not very stable, is it? And it's going to tip over backwards the second I try and do anything with it. Okay, will that do it? Oh, shit! Okay. I get the feeling that this is not quite as stable as I would like it to be. So I might have to add extra stability, which is doable. Now, let's think about this. One could add extra stability, like so. Because we don't want it rolling inwards anyway. So, that means we've got two sets of shocks on each part, which should leave the wheels in a bit more of a stable position. Could also strengthen the piston situation by doing that, which leaves us in a slightly more stable position. Whoop. If we move the front one, it puts us in where we need to be, but at the same time it shifts. Ah, sack it, we don't need the aerodynamics. We want pistons, not aerodynamics. Ah, get off. Okay, that goes there. Piston gets copied to here. Okay, it now looks a great deal more stupid than before. Not that it needed any help with that. But hopefully should be even more stable. Okay. And we've still got a nice bit of bounce. The wheels aren't especially stable here, but... And can we still... We can still split the wheels out. There we go. Right. That's a great deal more stable and drivable. No longer looks like it's falling apart. I can put a bit more power into it without it exploding. Although not too much more, it starts to skid a lot. Oh boy! Oh, okay. I lost control and the camera went into orbit mode, which is, hey, I've crashed mode. Oh, there. But then it recovered, so I didn't crash. Okay, back to chase view because we can use that one. Let's restabilize to upwards. See, this means we can raise the ground clearance of the vehicle quite nicely, although of course that puts the centre of gravity way up in the air, so let's not spend too much time doing that. But it does get the nose way off the ground, which is very handy. Oh, sugar. Okay, braking too hard is still an issue. So, as in, braking too hard causes the whole thing to plummet forwards onto its nose. I'll have to bear that in mind. Okay, and it's turned me round because that's the way my cockpit was facing when I said restart here. So, without building up too much speed just before the hill. Oh, you weren't meant to fall apart. Okay. Make sure we don't catch the nose on the runway. Back down again. Oh, I'm liking the pistons. I'm liking the pistons a lot. The shock absorbers, the car engines, and the resizable wheels I had already played with a bit, I'll admit, but the pistons are new for me, and I'm enjoying the hell out of them. Oh no, the wheel's caught. Okay, maybe if I make bigger wheels, they won't, because that at the second is catching as well. Bigger wheels are the solution to that. Fuck it, enormous wheels. Monster truck. Okay, 1, 2, 3 wheels. And 4 wheels. Monster truck. Hopefully they'll do the job a little better. At this stage I'm going to just take away these, because frankly all that nose piece was doing was getting in the way. So, monster truck should be able to climb the hill a little better. Although we may need a bigger engine to move the wheels now. I'm liking what I can now do to my wheels with my controls. It looks really fancy and cool now. However, I am going to beef up my engine, because now we need to, because the wheels are quag. Hello, 600 horsepower. Okay, we're looking a little more reasonable. Lowered everything down a bit for impact reduction. I think we needed bigger wheels for the job, to be honest. This is probably going to solve quite a few of our problems. Well, instead of crashing coming onto the runway, we can now actually get onto the runway without explosions ensuing. So that's awesome. Admittedly, given that we're already doing 80 odd miles an hour, I probably don't need to get a second engine to beef this up any further. However, I'm really tempted to put a second engine in and have one engine powering the back wheels and one engine powering the front wheels. Oh, slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. And power up. Let's try and crest this hill. See if our new monster truck can climb mountains any better. I mean, that's a sheer cliff, so I'm not even going to attempt that. But this bit down here is a bit less of a sheer cliff. So, power down a bit so we don't hit it at too high a speed. Okay, never mind. Power it up, power it up. We are going to need a bigger engine to crest this hill, actually. It's fine on flat ground, but which means we need to use lower power on flat ground. Yep, okay. Exit, let's put a second engine in. Let's get serious. Move out to fuel tanks. And engine select. Rear engine, done. Engine select, rear engine, done. Okay. Let's go for it. That should move a little faster off the starting blocks. Yes, it does. Lower down the monster truck a bit. Keep it high enough that we've still got some control. We've still got quite a lot of control. That turns very sharply. Should probably use a little less power if we're going to do that. Otherwise, we are just going to slide around like we did then. That's a lot of sliding. Okie dokie. Let's raise ourselves back up a bit. And up top. Okay, we're still moving plenty quick with our ground clearance here. And I think we have slightly better control actually, so. Right, let's slow it down. Brakes, brakes, brakes. We can actually use the brakes without going over our own nose at this point, so that's handy. Okay. Let's not hit this hill too hard or we'll just bounce off it, but let's climb it. Bit of extra power, we're still going up. Okay, now we can't hit quite that angle. Gonna have problems at that angle. So slow it down and then move it sideways across the hill. Admittedly, that is a very, very steep angle we were trying to hit then. Something that's probably not possible with something with this. But this little power, I mean, it's only 1200 horsepower in fairness. It's doing a very good job for what it is. Okay, how well can we bouncy bouncy? Shit. Too good. Okay. Let's have a look at this from a distance, shall we? Can we self-right from here? No, I should probably build on a self-righting mechanism of some sort. This thing, at the moment, is going to have a little bit of trouble. Look, I can bring the wings into... I can bring the... not the wings, the wheels into each other. Are they actually touching? Because they probably are now, they're monster truck wheels. Yes, and it looks adorable and silly. Okay, so, trying that again, I wonder if we can build a self-righting mechanism. Because that would be cool. We're still not using the roll controls, so we could build on some sort of self-righting mechanism using those. Yes. But how? I mean, obviously the simplest self-righting mechanism for this sort of thing is to make it so that when it goes onto its back it rolls. Which is doable, actually. I wonder if I could do it with the right shape fuselage. Edit fuselage shape. Corner style manual. Corner 1 circular. Corner 2 circular. And oh, sorry, corner 1 and corner 4 I think need to be circular and the other two need to be hard. Okay, that gives us that sort of semicircle shape to work with. So, well, circular and circular. That gives us that shape to work with. If I move things around a bit, we can probably width 3 gives us that shape. Height 2.25. Height 2.5, I think, does it? Gives us the right shape. Width 3, height 2.5, and length 5. Now if I were to move all of these things onto here, nope, that is wrong. Or I could just use it as a roof rather than trying to faff about. I was going to try and replace the whole midsection with one of these, but actually I could just use it as a roof. Which looks even sillier. But it would work, maybe. It also makes the centre of gravity even higher, which is not what we want. Bugger. No, I'd have to lower that right down. Height. If I make it height 1. That makes the whole thing more like a roof, and less like an entire separate bus on top of our vehicle. And that actually looks vaguely reasonable again. That's good. So it'll hopefully roll off that a little. And our other thing that we were going to do is if I put some of these pistons on, not on the top, but if I roll them onto their sides and put some long range pistons out here. maybe we can have some rollable sections that will send us back onto our front when we roll over, in case we completely mess up. I don't think that'll work, actually. Turn it round. This probably is terrible. However, oh, you are meant to be down here. So now, when that gets used, that now pushes sideways as well. So if we end up on our side, that'll help roll us over. Could work. Oh, wait. How about Wait, that one's already the right way up. Oi, sit where you're meant to sit. There you go. Right, and you are meant to go here and here. And then if you sit... Oh no! Can I even put it on the engine? I can put it on the engine! And that'll actually sit there now. And this one... Go in the middle, damn you. Right. We'll sit there, like that. So now we have a sort of rolling roof to go with. This is stupid. That's too big. Edit shape. Backwards. Width. 1. Width 1. So now what we've got is a little roll bar, effectively. Done editing the shape, so plonk it on the side there. Put some extra pistons there. And we'll just mirror that at this point. Stop us having to do that again on the other side. Right. Now what we've got, in case we roll it, is a car that wob 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 whoop whoop whoop. Okay, so if we roll it, which hopefully we won't much, should be able to roll itself back onto its front. I mean, I could probably come up with a much more effective system using rotators, which would actually roll it back over by some sort of manual lifting mechanism. But I really like pistons, and I think this might work. Well, time to test it. Not time to test it. Of course, this self-righting mechanism assumes that I wasn't going too fast and exploded it. So, let's solve that problem first. We can still lower our centre of gravity for straight travel. Oh, no, 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 no. No, no. Roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it. Oh, shit. Nope, that's exploding. Restart here. Less ambitious with the speed, I think. Remember, we've got 1200 horsepower of doom connected to the wheels at the second. So we should probably calm down a fraction. I mean, to be honest, I can probably gently roll it if I just turn too damn hard. Okay, that wasn't hard enough. Or we weren't going quite fast enough. So let's put a bit of extra power on. Actually, to be honest, something of this height, 50 miles an hour ought to be enough to roll it. So there's 60. Yep, we've rolled it. Okay. Let's see. I can't self-right it with this. But I tried. And it's certainly entertaining. It can crab walk. It's not a self-righting mechanism, but it can crab walk. Which is, you know, we can get home in that. Doing like 3 or 4 miles an hour. I think it just tried to spawn one of my planes because there was an explosion in the background there. It probably spawned one of my many badly designed planes as it now randomly spawns air traffic. And crashed it into a mountain by the sounds of it. Right. So that hasn't quite functioned. Rotators, perhaps. Or perhaps that's a project best left for next time, as this has been a little bit of a crazy ride with this thing. Let's save this for now. Bouncy, bouncy. Because that seems to be mostly what it's doing. With our slightly oversized bouncing pimp wagon of failure to self-right. I'm sure I can figure out a way of doing it. In the meantime, here's some stuff I did last time with rotators and stuff that I actually wanted to show you guys. But I thought we should also like go through the design and stuff and figure out how pistons work. I built this whilst I was messing with car engines. This thing's got 6 of them, I think, hanging about, connected to various wheels, and then it's got a turret, because I thought, why not? Also, you can now sync the aircraft carriers. I don't even know if... Yes, the aircraft carriers were around, but they've now also, some of them, got bodyguards and stuff. So yeah, this is my other construction that I've been meaning to showcase to all of you out there. This was before I figured out that I could change the string strength on my suspension. So what I did with these shocks was put more of them on. And it's got 2 layers of shocks on everything and half a dozen of them everywhere it needs them, or could possibly need them. I can arm the missiles, so I will arm my air-to-ground missiles, although there will be now ground-to-sea missiles. I'm going to go over this way and sink the USS Tiny, because sinking ships is fun. Yeah, this thing bounces a lot too. Okay, that didn't quite go well. I swear it works. As you can see, it's also quite quick, considering its size and stupid build. But that, I'm pretty sure I ramped up all those engines to 600 horsepower. Because it seemed like a fun idea at the time. And I now need 15% of my power to go sideways at 70 miles an hour. The other major point about this build, which I will show you in a second, is that I have rotators connected both laterally and horizontally. It's quite good at off-roading, all things considered, given that its size and monumental stupidity. Yes, the missiles are that high off the ground because it's it throws them into the ground if you try and fire them from any lower than that. Okay, we need to get within... Well, need to get within 4 miles of it for the ground missiles, for the air-to-ground missiles to lock on. Okay. Cockpit view, I can completely control this now, which is awesome. But for now, let's lock onto the USS Tiny. And show them from different camera angles. I can do all sorts with this thing, and I've got full control over my turret here, as you can see. I've used the control with mouse thing because it's not all set to VTOL, so it has the same problem as the pistons did when I was showing you the previous build. And the problem with that being, if you haven't got the mouse's joystick enabled, or not using an actual joystick, when you're using the pitch and roll controls, it automatically resets itself to not controlled whenever you're not holding it. And of course you can only go, I'm turning all the way this way, or I'm turning all the way this way, rather than the fine controls you get with a joystick or the VTOL buttons. But there's only one set of VTOL buttons, so you're a bit stuck on that front. As it is, I can do this. Hooray! I have got some air-to-air missiles, but actually making this thing spawn planes that I can see is harder than I would expect it to be. I'll give it a shot though. Let's put in a bomber. Spawn the bomber. See if I can shoot it down before it drops bombs on me. To air missiles, although they're obviously being used as ground-to-air missiles. Aha! These do have a much longer range, and it does tell me where it is because I've now activated my weapons for air-to-air combat. Slow down, 90 miles an hour is too hard to hit this hill. Let's drive towards it. Fire! And it's gone. Nice. Even worked for demonstration for me. Yeah, with a nice smoke cloud in the distance. Well, with some of the new features shown to you guys, there's still loads of new content. There's new races and all sorts, which you now have to unlock with various other stuff, which is awesome. With some of this new stuff showcased to you guys, I'm going to leave the video for here for today. So thank you all once again very much for joining me, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.